She called the cops and screamed, "Arrest him!" But I was standing on my own land, gripping the railing of my little wooden bridge. Her cement truck roared across it again, cracking the old boards under its weight. I shouted for her to stop. But she just laughed, honking the horn like she owned the street. My heart was racing, but I stayed calm. I knew the bridge was mine, and there was more to me than she could see. She was the kind of HOA Karen who thought rules applied only to everyone else. A clipboard in hand, she waved a fake notice in my face. "You can't live here anymore," she said, her voice dripping with entitlement. I noticed the neighbors peeking through curtains, whispering to each other. I couldn't let her shame me, not in front of them. I stepped closer to the bridge, watching her truck's tires crush the wood with every pass. My mind raced. My wife, sitting in the car behind me, whispered, "Don't let her see fear. Remember what I trained you for." My jaw tightened. Most people thought she was unstoppable, but they didn't know my past. Not yet. The truck stopped abruptly. She stepped out, pointing at me like she could just summon the law. "I'm calling the police," she barked. I smiled faintly, reaching into my pocket. My phone buzzed with live security footage from the bridge camera I installed last week. The twist? She thought she was untouchable, but I had proof ready for the moment she crossed the line. Her face turned red. I could see it in her eyes. Karen panic. She didn't know I had already flagged her for trespassing. She didn't know that the moment she stepped on my property, the evidence was recording everything. And she didn't know that this little wooden bridge wasn't just mine. It was the key to turning her chaos against her. "Keep driving that truck over my bridge," I said softly. "You're about to make your biggest mistake." She laughed, the kind of laugh that makes everyone else's skin crawl. I held my ground, and somewhere inside, I felt the first thrill of what was coming next, the trap she would never see. She revved the engine again, like she was daring me to act. The bridge groaned under the weight of the cement truck, small cracks spiderwebbing across the boards. I stayed frozen for a second, letting her think I was afraid. Then I crouched and pressed a hidden button on my phone. The bridge's hidden sensors clicked silently. Moments later, a loudspeaker crackled to life across the street. "This is private property. Move your truck or face legal consequences." My voice echoed through the small neighborhood. Her eyes widened. She spun around, scanning for who had called the cops. That's when I realized she hadn't noticed my little setup. 2 hidden cameras recording everything from angles she couldn't see. Every illegal maneuver, every fake threat, every second of her tantrum was being documented. She stomped toward me, shouting, waving the fake HOA notice like it would scare me off. "I'll have you arrested for obstruction," she screamed. I leaned casually on the railing, letting her rage fuel her mistakes. My wife rolled down her window and snapped a photo of her truck tires crushing the boards. "Smile," she said, and the flash caught Karen mid-scream. The neighbors had started gathering, whispering, staring. One of them muttered, "Is she really allowed to do this?" Another shook their head, but nobody stepped in. They all knew. Karen liked to play hero of the HOA, enforcing rules that didn't exist. But they also noticed that I wasn't backing down. Then it happened. A sudden snap under the truck. She froze. The wood cracked deeper than ever, tilting slightly under the cement's weight. Her eyes went wide. Finally, a hint of fear. But instead of panicking, I stayed calm, my fingers on my phone. The hidden trap I'd prepared wasn't to hurt her. It was to expose her. In just seconds, the evidence would be undeniable. And that's when I heard it. Sirens, faint but growing louder. Karen's smirk faltered. She hadn't expected anyone to actually notice her fake claims. And she definitely hadn't expected me to be ready. The trap was closing, and she was about to learn that messing with me on my property was her biggest mistake yet. Before she could scramble back to the truck, 2 black SUVs screeched to a halt at the end of the street. Karen's face lit up with triumph. "Finally, the police!" she yelled, waving her fake badge at anyone watching. I barely contained a laugh. Fake cops? That was her usual move, trying to intimidate everyone. Two men in dark suits stepped out, straight-faced, badges glinting in the sun. "Sir, we received a complaint about property obstruction," one said. Karen pointed at me, practically bouncing with excitement. "He's threatening my safety. I cut her off calmly. "Before you believe her, let's check the live feed," I said, tapping my phone. The screens on my phone lit up with multiple angles. Her cement truck crushing the bridge, her stomping and shouting, and her waving that fake HOA notice like it was a weapon. The men's expressions shifted. One whispered into a radio. Karen's smirk faltered. This can't be real," she stammered. "I called the cops. I stepped closer, holding my phone high so the live footage reflected in the sun, hitting the eyes of everyone gathered, including the so-called officers. "All your threats, your fake notices, everything is documented. You're trespassing, damaging private property, and impersonating law enforcement. Everything is recorded." Her hands trembled. For the first time, she looked small, vulnerable, completely exposed. The neighbors started murmuring, glancing at her with disbelief. "She's insane," someone muttered. Karen's fake cops exchanged nervous glances, clearly realizing they weren't part of the plan anymore. And that's when the first major twist hit her like a brick. The man in the black suit she thought was her backup actually worked with the real sheriff. My past, my connections, and the secret evidence were about to unravel her entire little empire. I smiled quietly, knowing that the trap I set was working perfectly. And deep down, I knew she had no idea how far this would go, or how badly she was about to lose. Karen's knees nearly buckled when the first man pulled out a real badge. "Deputy Harris, San Diego County Sheriff's Office," he said, voice low, but firm. Her jaw dropped. The fake cops she had called? Completely useless. I could see the panic spreading across her face like wildfire. I stepped forward, keeping my voice steady. "She's been trespassing repeatedly. She's destroyed my property. Every move she made today is recorded." I held up my phone, the screens still showing the live bridge footage, and the hidden cameras caught every smirk, every stomp, every fake threat Karen had thrown at me. My wife came closer, standing tall beside me. "And let's not forget," she added calmly, "he's trained for this. Military trained." I glanced at her, nodding. Karen's eyes went wide. Suddenly, I wasn't just a homeowner defending his land. I was someone who could act decisively, strategically, and with authority she could never intimidate. Karen's voice cracked as she shouted, I know the rules. This is HOA law." But the deputy cut her off. "There's no HOA law that allows destruction of private property. And impersonating law enforcement? That's a federal offense." Her face turned red, veins bulging in her neck. The neighbors were whispering furiously. Cameras and phones now pointed at her. The humiliation was immediate, unstoppable. And then I revealed the final piece of the twist. "She didn't just drive the truck recklessly," I said. "She's been forging documents, sending fake violations, and threatening neighbors who spoke against her. All evidence is logged." The deputy's partner began taking notes, shaking his head. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water, completely trapped by the law she thought she controlled. The cement truck sat there, wheels cracking the old bridge boards, a symbol of her arrogance. And I realized something satisfying. Today wasn't just about stopping her. It was about exposing her to everyone. Her empire of fake authority was crumbling piece by piece in front of the entire street. I felt a quiet surge of satisfaction. Justice wasn't just coming. It was already here. And Karen had no idea how far her downfall would go before the day ended. Karen's face was beet red as the deputy read her rights out loud, right there on the street. The neighbors were snapping photos, recording videos, whispering among themselves and pointing. Every step she took felt heavier, as if the cement truck itself was a punishment she couldn't escape. She tried to scream, "You can't do this, I'm HOA, But the deputy held up a hand. "Impersonating law enforcement doesn't make you untouchable," he said firmly. Karen's smirk had vanished entirely, replaced with a wild, desperate glare. I walked slowly toward the truck, keeping my eyes on her. "You drove your truck across my bridge one too many times," I said quietly. "I hope you enjoy everyone seeing exactly who you are." I pressed play on my phone, and the live footage from every hidden angle began streaming to a portable screen I'd set up on the curb. The crowd gasped as they watched Karen stomp, yell, and wave fake papers like she had power. Her panic turned into fury. She lunged toward me, but the deputy stepped in, holding her back. I couldn't help but notice the irony. She had always wanted to control everyone else's property, yet now she was powerless, caught in the trap she thought only targeted me. My wife whispered, "Ready for the next part?" I nodded. Moments later, I pulled out a small folder. The HOA violations she claimed against me? I handed copies to the deputy. All fake. Forged signatures, false dates, every one of them. Karen's eyes widened again, and this time her fear was complete. She had underestimated me, underestimated my planning, underestimated that the little homeowner she thought she could crush was prepared for everything. The crowd erupted in murmurs, and murmurs turned into applause when the sheriff's deputy said, "You're going to explain this in court." Karen's face twisted, realizing that today's humiliation was only the beginning. The trap was complete, and the cement truck, still sitting on the cracked bridge, a monument to her arrogance and the start of her public exposure. And just as I felt the tension settle slightly, my phone buzzed with a notification from my hidden driveway camera. Another twist was coming, one Karen would never expect, and it would involve more than just the bridge. I glanced at my phone and froze for a moment. The notification showed Karen sneaking around the side of my property, trying to retrieve some evidence she thought she could use against me. She didn't see the driveway cameras capturing everything, the angles I had carefully set up days ago. Every step, every glance over her shoulder, every whispered curse was recorded. I walked calmly toward the side yard, letting her feel the tension. "Looking for something?" I asked, my voice calm but edged with steel. She spun around, caught red-handed, face pale. She stammered, but no words could cover her panic. The neighbors were now fully watching, some coming closer, phones raised, recording. Then came the biggest twist yet. I stepped aside, letting the hidden screens show the footage of her breaking onto my property, then pointing to a real sheriff's badge clipped to my belt. "Remember me?" I said. "Military vet, trained for situations exactly like this. You're not the first to underestimate me, Karen." Her jaw dropped. She hadn't counted on me being fully prepared, with law enforcement ready to back me up and the entire neighborhood watching. She tried to flee toward her cement truck, but one of the deputies blocked her path. "Going anywhere?" he asked flatly. Karen's smirk had disappeared completely. She had gone from controlling everyone else to completely powerless. Her empire of fake authority was crumbling before her eyes. I smiled faintly, thinking about the trap I had set from day one. Every move she made, every threat she issued, every reckless decision, it was all feeding into her public exposure. And the neighbors who had once whispered in fear were now murmuring in awe. One even shouted, "Wow, she's insane." Karen's last attempt to reclaim control was futile. The footage, the deputies, my secret military training, it all converged perfectly. The trap I set wasn't just about stopping her today. It was about showing everyone exactly who she really was. And as I watched her struggle, I felt a quiet satisfaction knowing the next twist would be the one that finally ended her reign of terror. Karen's screams echoed down the street as the deputies escorted her away, handcuffed, while neighbors lined the sidewalks, phones out, capturing every moment. Her cement truck sat idle on the cracked bridge, a monument to her arrogance, and the crowd's murmurs swelled into applause. I approached the bridge slowly, my boots crunching against the broken boards. Every inch of it had been recorded, every crack a testament to her recklessness. I pressed a few buttons on my phone, sending the footage live to the local HOA board and a few neighborhood forums. Within minutes, her reputation was unraveling online, exposing her lies, fake notices, and impersonation attempts. My wife came up beside me, smiling quietly. "Looks like your trap worked better than planned," she said. I nodded, feeling a deep satisfaction, but there was still one final move. I made a quick call to the tow company that had been ready in case the truck blocked the street, and within moments her massive cement truck was being carefully removed. Neighbors cheered as it was hauled away, cement dripping slightly from the tires, a perfect symbol of her fall. Karen, now fully exposed and powerless, had no one left to manipulate. Every threat, every fake violation, every attempt to intimidate had backfired spectacularly, and as the deputies left, one of them nodded at me. "You handled this well. Not many people would have had the patience and planning to trap someone like that." I took a deep breath, glancing at my little bridge. It had survived the chaos, and so had my family. Justice had been served cleanly, legally, and publicly. Karen's reign of terror over the neighborhood was over, replaced by a wave of relief and newfound respect for standing up to bullies. And as the last of the crowd dispersed, I allowed myself a small smile. Today we hadn't just defended a piece of land, we had proven that preparation. Courage and staying calm under pressure could turn even the boldest villain into a cautionary tale. The street was quiet now, only the soft creak of my little bridge underfoot reminding me of the chaos that had passed. Neighbors waved as they walked by, some stopping to shake my hand, others nodding in silent respect. The cement truck was gone, Karen's fake authority obliterated and her lies exposed for everyone to see. I stepped back onto my property, feeling the weight of relief settle in. My wife wrapped an arm around me. "You did it," she said softly. "We did it. Together." I nodded, thinking about every step of the trap, every twist we had planned, every piece of evidence that had turned the tables. The adrenaline had faded, leaving a deep, satisfying sense of justice. The final twist of the day came unexpectedly. A neighbor I barely knew walked up holding a small plaque. "For standing up for your land and your family," they said, handing it to me. "We all saw what she tried to do and how you handled it. Thank you." I held it, realizing that protecting your rights in your home wasn't just about rules or fences. It was about courage, honor, and doing what's right, no matter how intimidating the opponent. As the sun dipped low, casting golden light over the bridge, I felt a surge of pride. Today wasn't just about stopping one HOA Karen. It was about proving that ordinary people could fight back, protect their families, and stand for what's theirs. My phone buzzed again. Videos of Karen's meltdown were going viral online. Her humiliation was public, legal, and complete. I glanced at my little bridge, battered but standing, and whispered, "I didn't fight for this country to be told I can't park on my own driveway or live on my own land." My wife squeezed my hand. Justice had been served. The family was safe. Our home was secure. And the message was clear. No fake authority, no bully, and no corrupt power could ever win when truth and preparation stood in their way. The bridge creaked again as we walked across it together, leaving the chaos behind. Today the neighborhood had witnessed more than a homeowner standing up. They had seen courage, strategy, and honor prevail. And as the evening breeze carried the quiet hum of victory, I knew one thing for certain. This story, this trap, and this victory would be remembered long after Karen's lies faded into history.